Good afternoon, Senator Avella, and I want to thank you and your colleagues very much for convening this forum. My name's Jeff Zimmerman. I'm environmental lawyer, counsel for Damascus Citizens for Sustainability, NYH2O, and Sane Energy Project. The issue I wanted to bring up today, Senator Perkins brought up earlier in the opening remarks, is not about the wastes from the process, the fracking itself, the failure of casings, etc., all of which are very, very important issues, as you've mentioned or stressed in these hearings. The issue I want to bring up today is about the product. The result of all of this development is the natural gas. And the key issue that I want to focus attention on that DEC has not paid any attention to is radon in the natural gas. Now, radon is an inert, noble gas. It doesn't react with anything. It is produced only by the radioactive decay of thorium, radium, and uranium. It cannot be destroyed by burning. It will not chemically react with anything else. The only way you can get rid of it is for it to decay by radioactive decay. If that happens when it's inside your body, because the primary route of ingestion of radon gas is by inhalation, if that happens when it's inside your body, then you produce cancer. EPA estimates that 21,000 cancer deaths per year occur across the country from exposure to radon. Radon exposure is the leading cause of lung cancer among non-smokers. Now, the level of radon in all shale gas contains radon to one degree or another. The more organic material that's in the shale, it seems to be the greater concentration of uranium, thorium, and radium, which are the base materials that will produce the radon in the gas. The Marcellus shale happens to be some of the highest organic content shale, the darkest shale, of any of the deposits in the United States. We have very, very few data points. Industry has not provided any information, and I stress this, any information about radioactivity levels in the gas to New York State DEC that we're aware of. It's certainly not in the public record. Nor have they provided that information to the consumers of the gas here in New York City. The New York City Council Environmental Protection Committee and Public Health Committee know nothing about this. And we've asked the Speaker of the City Council to support us in requesting joint hearings of the City Council Committee on Environmental Protection and the Committee on Public Health to start looking at this issue, because here's our analysis of it. And I'm not a health physicist, let me put that to rest, but as a physics major undergraduate, I began looking at uranium issues, and I've worked on uranium issues my entire 35-year legal career at one point or another in the process. The gas that currently is being consumed in New York City in kitchens and apartments across the city primarily comes from the Texas-Louisiana Gulf Coast, which is some of the lowest native radioactivity level gas that we'll find anywhere. When it leaves the wellhead in the Gulf Coast, the radioactivity level of radon is about 5 picocuries to maybe 10 picocuries per liter. Don't worry about the units, just worry about the numbers. It decays with a half-life of somewhat under 4 days, 3.83 days. So in 3.83 days, half of the level will be there that was there at the beginning. It takes about 6 to 8 days, depending on the particular pipeline route that is followed, for that gas to get from the Gulf Coast to New York City. So in that period of time, you have gone through probably 2 decay cycles. So the 5 picocuries start level at the wellhead is now down to around 1 picocurie. And over this last winter, Sane Energy Project conducted over 300 tests in apartments across the 5 boroughs. We got about 100 usable results out of those tests. All but 85% of them were below the detection level for the method of detection used, which was 0.3 picocuries per liter. A few were 1 or 2 picocuries. There was one sample on Staten Island that was 4.5 picocuries. Now, EPA recommends that you begin mitigation of the radon levels in your dwelling when you hit 2 picocuries, and urges you to use aggressive mediation or mitigation of radon levels when you hit 4 picocuries. By contrast with the very low levels of the gas that we currently have, the one data point we have from Marcellus Shale activity levels is from the USGS in northeastern Pennsylvania, and that's 150 picocuries per liter at the wellhead. The transit time for that gas, which is dry gas as you've heard today, which means it doesn't need to be processed before it can be consumed. The transit time to New York City is on the order of 12 to 15 hours, not days, hours. So the amount of decay that will occur is minuscule, maybe 10–15%. In other words, when this gas is delivered into the apartments in New York City, we anticipate that radioactivity levels will be about 120 to 130 picocuries per liter. That is an enormous public health risk. Nothing has been done to look at it. Nothing has been done to examine it. That's our concern today. With that, I'll pass it over to my colleague.